this episode of Inspired Chats, we've got a guest, Dylan Jan, owns Load 22A, and we're going to have a chat about it. How did you come across Load 22A?
Mr. Paul Harper actually showed me the for sale post, and I just sold a WRX and a van, which was a camper, which was really useful, but that's another story. I pretty much, the first truck I ever saw back in 2004, 2005 was the original Bargain truck, and I was probably about 13 years old.
It's the one with the PlayStation 2 remote and everything?
Yeah. So it was at a classic car show, and there was all these 67, 65 Mustangs, and there was just a random orange bag ute body drop sitting on the ground, and I just didn't know what the hell was going on. I was a child, and I fell in love. So yeah, my first show in 07 was Mini Madness, and then pretty much always wanted a truck, and then 11 years later, Paul Harper showed me this post, just sold my cars, and yeah, the time was right. And
so what was the truck in its condition when you first saw it?
It was really good. It was in its original form. It was built in 1998, and then we went up to Newcastle and had a look at it. And yeah, it looked great. It looked absolutely great, besides probably 2 cracks in the paint, but for an 18-year-old paint job, it looked amazing.
Yeah. How much history of the truck did you know of it before you bought it?
It's funny, I knew that it was obviously an OG truck purely just from the styling, the age of the truck, and then yeah, it was weird. It was funny how after I bought it, found out that the guy that built it literally 15 minutes away from where I live. So.
Well, that's handy to have.
Yeah.
And when was the initial buy of it? Did you buy it as soon as you saw it, or did you have a test drive of it, check it out, and buy it a few weeks later?
As I said, it was just perfect timing. I sold my cars, I had the money. Paul said, yeah, buy a mini truck. And I thought, you know what? Yeah.
No one ever says that. Buy a mini truck.
Yeah, I know. But we've been best mates for a very long time, and he's had his for a long time. He did the right thing and stood by one car. And I sort of went through a lot of different cars, and yeah, this is one I'll definitely keep. So we went there, looked at it, and yeah, it was pretty much perfect. And I had the money, and I said, yeah, let's do it. So I bought it.
We know there's an unfortunate event after you bought it.
Yeah.
How long after was it that it happened, and what actually happened, and where did you go from there?
So obviously it's an old truck, it needed a bit of updating, so I said to myself, I've got a bit of money left over. I'll invest the money in it, in the sense I just wanted to get new airline, update the air gear, got some rewiring done. So Kurt Shearer was the man for that. So pretty much bought the truck that day, took it home, bought it from around where Kurt actually, his business is, so it had to go pretty much straight back up there. Took it back up there. Kurt had it overnight, did a bit of work on it. It was all pretty much done and dusted when he picked it up. So I was happy, new switch box, all new wiring, new gauges, new airline, everything. It was all functioning.
New fresh truck.
New fresh truck. It was functioning well enough to drive as a daily, because that's what it was at that point in time. And then literally got it home, parked it up, went to work the Friday, went for a drive on the Friday, took it to the car wash, gave it its first wash, took it for its first Saturday drive, and then pretty much sitting in bumper to bumper traffic, worse luck. A woman, heavily pregnant woman, probably about 36 weeks pregnant. I was already stationary, and she must have been texting, and yeah, she just tapped the back of it, and it's about $15,000 worth of damage, so pretty much got...
Yeah, I remember when Paul spoke to me, and he goes, oh, the truck that Dylan just bought, it's crashed. Oh, no.
Yeah,
Don't want that.
Chugs messaged me, he goes, man, I just saw your truck, like a truck on the side of the road, and I didn't know you bought it, and yeah, it just got smashed. And I go, yeah, man, I bought it like 4 days ago. So,
it's the worst luck. You think you got the best truck, and then unfortunately these things happen.
Yeah, it was something I wanted for 11 years, and then had it for 4 days, and it already got totaled, so not totaled, but...
Need a lot of repairs.
Yeah, new bad.
So where was the next shop you took it to? Because you had a mate, Justin, I believe. Was that
so it was pretty much along the lines of when I bought the truck, obviously brought it home, insured it straight away. Got recommended to Brett Williams, an enthusiast, insured the truck. that was obviously great that I did that and didn't do the whole I've got a truck, let's just get too excited and then not insure it. So you have to do that. So that's what I did. So then obviously 4 days later it got crashed. And
well,
then,
lucky you got insured.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Brett had a friend that's been in the scene for a very long time called Justin Griffin. He's got a shop in Richmond. He said he's local. He can do the job for you. He can repair it, stuff like that. You can talk to him.
And he also owns a big truck himself too.
Yeah, he's got the original Ivy Dragon, which
is
pretty cool to see in the flesh.
Yeah, it's different now. It's white with blue flares and everything.
Yeah, not many people like it, but I love it. Maybe just as much as my truck.
It's not my taste either, but I definitely enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I went to Justin's shop.
He went to Justin's shop. It's been about 6 months there, nearly 6 months. And then we just went over a few things. I obviously put a little bit more money into. I didn't know what route to go in terms of colour, and I went cliche white.
But you went the brightest white possible.
Yeah, so it's Lexus LFA white, so it's the supercar white. So white is white. It is got a bit of flair to it. There's no metallic, it's straight white. And it was, so do you want to ask me another question? Because I've got a bit of a story that you might ask later on.
I could, but I feel as though you're mumbling away anyways. Everyone's going to enjoy
let's do that.
Now, what was actually initially damaged on the truck? Because we know the tub was pushed in and creased in, obviously because you got rear-ended.
Yeah.
Was the cab damaged and everything that needed to be repaired?
Yeah, so luckily the frame wasn't damaged, but the tub was damaged. But the tub actually, unfortunately, got pushed in the back of the cab on the left side. It wasn't dramatic. It got repaired, but so it was the back of the cab and then the bed had to be replaced.
Yeah. Alright, so back to that, where it got to the getting painted in white. What was the initial first thing that happened? Was it doing all the bodywork to fix it, or did you find another tub or something, or did you do this and that?
Yeah, so the tub was toast. We needed to find another tub. I ended up, it being a 30-year-old car and a space cab at that, I called 21 wreckers.
21 wreckers? Is there even that many in Sydney?
Yeah, well, I even called some in Vic. Well, previously it was in a pretty bad state, like the actual setup itself. It was carpeted and, there was the cliche metal hump over the notch.
The one in the middle.
The one in the middle, which just unscrewed. So regardless, I was going to do something with that anyway. But look, it took me a while to find a tub in the sense, like I said, I called 21 wreckers and even a Rodeo wreckers, and then no one had one. And the only place I didn't call was the local, the Northern Road wreckers. So I went there, and there was 2 Rodeo space cabs, complete cars with beds.
Was it in good condition, or were they like the generic, like had a couple of dents here and there?
30 years old, it was pretty bloody good condition. Yeah, there was surface rust, but it was interesting because the ute that it came off had like original factory stripes.
Yeah, so that's where the idea of the stripes came from.
Yeah, so paid for the tub. My stepdad brought his work truck to the wrecker, met him there. We picked the tub up, they forked it on, and then took it down the road to Richmond to Justin's workshop. And then we obviously unloaded it, and then we all had a chat pretty much there. And then we all agreed the stripes looked cool, because obviously the bed at that stage was only there, and I saw it in the flesh on the truck. So I thought, stripes are the way to go.
And then...
So the floor?
Yeah, the floor. Got raised floor, and then what was done to it in there also? Because we know it's black, but it's not obviously painted.
Yeah, so they obviously, to clear the notch in the setup itself, they obviously raised the floor because it's an OGM truck and it's only bagged for 17s. It was a pretty small notch, so they cut the wheel tubs and the stock floor out and just purely raised it, but it's still usable, which is really great.
So it's practical,
Yeah.
Yeah. Not practical these days.
No. And stone guard.
Yeah, stone guard. Yeah, that's the next question.
Raptor stone guard.
Yeah, so we've got a photo here. So, what you went red straight to begin with. Now, what colour is it now?
It's gold.
Are you going to stick to gold this time?
Oh, who knows?
Because I know a few people when you brought the East Coast Cruise, they love the red.
Yeah.
I personally love the red, but seeing as you got the interior now, gold works.
Yeah, so I don't know, I'll be honest, I saw like an old Ford on a custom car show, and the theme of the car was white and gold, and it just looked really good, and I just wanted a bit of a change, and they did red. I chose red, and because that's what the factory stripes were. It was actually red, and it stood out. And everyone I think liked it because it was the first glance of what the truck is now, and it was like red stripe. But I wanted to change, and I thought gold looked a bit classier, and I don't even like red so much. I would never buy a red car.
So we saw it, 2 years ago at East Coast Cruise? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, 2018, 2 years ago. And whenever we posted a photo about it, it was non-stop getting likes, reach was going everywhere.
Yeah.
What was the initial reaction you got when you first brought out the show? Because everyone remembers it, all been an OG truck.
Yeah. Like everyone else,
everyone else
liking it. It was just humble. It was a humble thing to experience. It was devastating in the beginning. It was such a high to get the truck, and then achieve that after such a long time of wanting one. But then to have it get crashed into, that was a low, and then it was so great to everyone actually really like it and appreciate it in the end, and give good feedback and write nice things on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah, because a lot of times these days when someone reburbs an old truck, they'd rather keep it that same way, but you went all new.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a risk if you wanted to keep it OG, but
no, that's it. I think I was a bit lucky in the sense it's actually really, really, really OG, despite people knowing it, but it's sort of like, it's a bit tucked away, so it was a bit of an eye-opener, and people in the scene would have known it from early days, but a lot more of the people that are in the scene back in the day aren't in the scene anymore. That's exactly right.
So no one really knows about it, but now people are knowing about it, and hopefully by this video people will understand it.
Yeah, well, I don't think they would up until now understand it. So
you're keeping with the old OG look, the wheel arches, the billets, the white walls, all that. You're pretty much done the exterior wise, haven't you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look, there's it's a truck, it's a car. They're never finished.
You've done interior now. What gave you what gave you the influence to do a tan interior? Usually people go black, or they do subtle colours. You went straight to pretty much brightest colour. Is that because the car's all white and bright?
Yeah, I think because it's purely just a really bright white. And I was always going to rip the window tin off, and it was just weird timing that I ripped it off, and then obviously glass was clear, you could see in, and the interior was just black, and sure, black's badass, but at the end of the day, it really takes away from, I think, what it can really look like if it pops, and a light colour. And I love tan interior.
It compensates for everything too. It compensates for everything too, with your gold, your black, your white.
Yeah.
Everything works well.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
And what is the final outcome for the truck? What is the final things you want to do to it?
Oh, geez.
I know that you can never pinpoint a finished truck, but what's the next thing you want to do?
I want to buy a daily.
Buy a daily?
Yeah, I need a daily. Look, I probably just want to, maybe one day when I get a shed and stuff, take the cab off and the tub and overlook the things things on the frame and stuff like that, get the frame repainted.
Tidy it up a little bit.
Tidy it up, under there probably needs some love, and to be honest, balls to the wall, not really balls to the wall, but just in my eyes I guess it would be, because it would be more of an overhaul than just redoing an interior. But coming down to the suspension aspect, I'd really probably like to put a bigger notch in it, bigger wheel tubs, and not necessarily to run bigger wheels, but just to have that practicality with a full
to be more modern,
more modern,
Yeah, just to bring it up to the modern age.
And an engine.
Yes.
That would be good.
Yes, the old 4Z one isn't up there.
Ted's got some in the warehouse there.
Does he? Maybe. And you drive it as much as you can?
December this year it goes conditioning. 30 years. So that could be something I do.
Yeah.
So,
we've been OG, getting rebuilt and stuff. We sort of, as much as everyone wants to drive their trucks every day, sometimes it's best just to drive them every weekend instead of every day.
Yeah, especially when there's erratic pregnant women on the road texting.
With that, we'll end this episode of Inspired Chats. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Shane.
And we'll have another episode out soon.